Johnny, Amber, Will, Jada, and Marcos Jr. Wow, the Marcos is back in power. Today I'll talk to you about all these 5 people. There's so many requests on me asking me, hey, what's your take on the Amber Depp case? You know, that serial has dragged on so long. I think it's longer than a National Geographic video which I've watched on the migration of snails. I think that was faster. So I'm not really following it because ultimately it's she said this, he said that, she threw at me, he punched me. You know, it's like just like in any marriage, the wife will complain something about the husband, the husband will complain something about the wife. You ask the wife, she said, I didn't do anything. You ask the husband, I didn't do anything. But actually it takes 2 hands to clap. In Singapore, when there's a road rage, the guy comes out and he will scold the other person, and the other person says he's in the wrong, and then this guy says I'll call the police, and the other guy says I will call the police. It's like if I call the police, it looks better on me because if I report, that means I'm the victim. So both sides will call the police. So in the same way, when Amber brought Johnny to court and Johnny countersues, it's the right thing to do, I guess, because the best form of defense is attack, and if I countersue, it's better for my image, I guess. If I got something to sue, then you know the best form of defense is attack. So I'm not in the wrong, so I'm going to countersue you. So generally that is the case. But those of you who want me to do an elaborate body language analysis, nah. Someone from behavioral arts, this guy, he's done a fabulous job. Seriously, he has a really good body language expert. He's got like 13 million views. So watch this guy from behavioral arts. Anyone knows his name, please let me know. If you can find his name, I want to give him the credit. He does a fantastic analysis. So what are you going to benefit from watching this video here today? I'm going to share with you the difference between body language and face reading. And in this case, today I'm going to teach you a little bit about speech analysis. Okay, so what's this all about? So body language actually tells you about that person's emotion then. So the emotion tells you whether he's anxious or jittery, is there signs of guilt. Then you come to a conclusion whether the person's lying or not lying. Alright, so that's what body language does. It tells you the emotions at that moment. For face reading tells you about that person's personality. Okay, so for Amber Heard's case, you know, it's very difficult to read her face. She has like a flawless, perfect, symmetrical actress face. So just by reading her face, you know, you can't tell whether she's a schizophrenic, she's a split personality. So what are we going to do if she has something like that? So we look into what we call the speech analysis. Okay, so for Johnny Depp's case, I've never heard of Johnny Depp until his first movie, I think, that I saw of him, The Nick of Time. He just blew me away. He was so cool. The show was so good, The Nick of Time. And then the second movie that really took me off my feet was Edward Scissorhands. It was so not futuristic, it was so mystical. Yeah, that would be the word. And I really enjoyed it. It was one of the few shows that I watched more than 3 times. Okay, so I do like Johnny Depp, but I'll say as the way I see it, he has a bad boy image. Okay, so first of all, we see that sunken chisel look face that you actually see on a lot of criminals. So like Ramirez here. And his tattoos all over his body. He has that mustache, that sunken cheek. You know, I don't want to offend Johnny Depp's fans. You like him the way he is, and I like him. But I have to say it the way I see it. He has a bad boy image. All right. So with his ponytail and his tough guy look, he has a bad boy image. So I can expect a bit of violence. I'm not saying that he did violence on Amber. I said he is prone to show some violence. Perhaps drugs, perhaps even sexual promiscuity. Okay, that doesn't affect the case, but that's the way it is. But it stacks against him. All right. But however, one interesting fact is, as behavioral arts has so clearly pointed out,
I just saw his arm.
It will surprise you that Johnny Depp is actually an introvert. Okay, so it's so contradictory that someone with such a wild bad boy image is actually an introvert. Okay, so it's a very complex behavior that I won't attempt to explain today, but it's something very interesting because while he's an introvert, he has this competitive behavior that puts him at one time the highest paid, I think still the highest paid ever paid actor with $75 million for Pirates of the Caribbean. Alright, so having said that, again, I'm not going to comment whether who's right, who's wrong. I think those of you who have watched the trial for hours, it's exactly what you see it. Alright, I'm going to move on to the next person, and that will be Jada Smith. I heard from today's news that Will and Jada are going to file for a divorce. You know, that lady, I'll say it the way I see it, she has been a warrior throughout. In face reading, we call this the warrior cheeks. Okay, so there's a sunken cheek here and high cheekbones, a little bit like what Johnny Depp has. And she has consistently short hair before she had to shave off her head. And you know that Hollywood always casts tough ladies with short hair, like in the case of 911 and among other tough superheroes, they have short hair. So if you spot that kind of short hair, and in this case also, now we're having the SEA Games competition, the football competition, and the female players in Singapore and as well as the Thai team, ratio wise is an unusually high amount of girls having short hair. Okay, so they are tougher, they're more athletic, that's what they do. So in the case of Jada, she has that warrior and the fighter type of face. She has this proud look, and as many have commented, she's troublesome. Okay, she caused lots of trouble, and I think they got it right in that instance. For Will Smith, if you want me to comment, he came out clean that earlier in his years, he actually stepped on a few toes in his role as a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He actually stabbed, not literally, but backstabbed his co-stars and climbed up the ladder by putting down others. And he came up and he apologized. I thought that was a fantastic gesture, and he was heading in the right direction. But ultimately, he is a superstar, and you know, superstars have that superstar treatment, and sometimes they have this god complex. You know, wherever you go, people adulate you, they honor you. You go to a restaurant, they treat you like a king. You go to a hotel, they treat you like a king. Even Johnny Depp, when he comes out from his car to the courthouse, his driver needs to open the door for him. So they always have this VIP treatment. And in the case of Will Smith, he is a very, very famous person, and during the Academy Awards, he was seated right in front. So such things can actually get into you. Okay, so you have that God complex. I'm above the law, I can do anything I want. So I guess that's one of the reasons why he actually went out there and he says, you know, the whole world revolves around me. And like, I disrupt most popular show on earth, the Academy Awards, and slap Chris Rock. That's okay. Okay, but I think right now, when he's not so emotional, he knows it was not so okay. He continues to have the eyelids that's drooping below his top eye, so it's like that. So that's what proud people do when they look down on others. They have this look. Okay, so if you're a little bit more humble, you do something like this, and if you're more friendly, and that's what I teach. Okay, I teach this thing called the rapid networking skill, and a lot of people say that, you know, you want to be friendly, just smile. It's more than that. It's about smiling, shows a bit of innocence. Okay, tilt your head to show a bit of curiosity. There are 4 or 5 emotions in the 4 or 5 seconds that makes people want to talk to you. Okay, so that's the part on Jada and Will. So we want to come to the most interesting part. To me, it's the most interesting part. I'm from Southeast Asia, and the name Marcos really sends shivers down my spine. Ferdinand Marcos Sr. was exiled in 1986. I was 19 years old then. I still recall the terror that the people of Philippines were facing, and the people of power of Aquino actually ousted him out. Many years later, the Marcos family is back with Bongbong Marcos Jr. And I've never followed the elections, but right now that he has won the elections, I really am very curious. It's like, it's like Saddam's son coming back, or Hitler's son coming back, something like that. I don't mean to offend anyone, but it's something like that. So it makes me so curious Filipinos who are watching right now, don't get offended because I want to do a quick analysis and maybe my opinions of the Marcos family could really change. So what we want to do is we want to watch some interviews of Bongbong Marcos. Because they said that he actually shied away from a lot of electoral debates so that his opponents could not scrutinize him. But then, obviously, as a presidential candidate or son of a famous dictator, there must be some kind of interview. So,
But are you ready that if you run, the old issues against your father will once again be brought to light? Like in Twitter today, when I said you were the guest, somebody had asked, will he say sorry? May ganun ulit.
If there is...
may ang daming ganun ulit. I'm curious.
Well, if kung meron akong sinaktan, I will always say sorry. But what have I been guilty of to apologize about? We have constantly said, if during the time of my father victimized in some way or another, of course we are sorry that happened. Nobody wants that to have happened. But yeah, and these are instances that have fallen through the cracks. So, but will I say sorry for the thousands and thousands of kilometers that were built? Will I say sorry for the agricultural policy that brought us to self-sufficiency in rice? Will I say sorry for the power generation? Will I say sorry for the highest literacy rate in Asia? What am I to say sorry?
He's tired of the same accusation. He's not shying away. There's no signs that he's nervous or he's feeling guilty or he's folding his arms or he's trying to get away from the interview. He's outrightly confronting it, and he's willing to face it. And he says the court has already dealt with it. So why keep bringing it up? Okay, there were so many precedents ago. There's Corazon Aquino, there is Duterte, so many presidents since then. So he's going to make a comeback there in the 2022. And here is a recent interview.
With that, there was one speech where President Duterte said you were a spoiled brat and a weak leader. Do you want to respond to that?
Yeah. Well, I think he was playing politics. I think one of the things we have learned about PRRD is that he likes to keep everyone on their toes.
Want to talk about Bongbong's countenance. So at that time, you could see proportionately he is considered short, a little bit on the stout side. His face is round. He's that friendly, bouncy guy. I think he's having nice personality. I would guess it's that way. His face tells me he's not the confrontational type. Okay, still wet behind the ears in terms of a political career. And then we move on to 2022. You see an incredible change. In fact, he's beginning to look so close like his father, and his father is actually quite handsome. Reminds me of like one of the Hawaiian Hawaii 5 or Jinho. Right, so he's becoming a bit more like his father, a more serious look, very squarish face right now. And in my previous video, I tell you that a squarish boxy face depicts a leadership type. Okay, so they think in a logical sequence, they think within the box, they process information very sequentially. So he's turning into a very typical squarish face, squarish head looking face leader, as in the case of JFK, President S.R. Nathan, President Mahathir, Xi Jinping. It's pronounced as Xi Jinping, okay, not Z or not President 11. Okay, so that is Bongbong for you, and I like the way he confronts the question. After watching the two videos, it convinced me that Bongbong Marcos is going to be really different from Duterte, the non-confrontational type. Duterte is so different, he's so upfront, he's so blunt, and at times he even used expletives to curse the US government. He makes enemies very quickly. Bongbong is going to be a more diplomatic person. As I watch this video, I can understand why people are giving the Marcos a second shot. In fact, what surprised me is a one-sided journalism where they say that he's not confronting the questions that the other candidates are posing onto him. But you know what? They have a very long-standing vlog which they talk about what they want to do for the country, and they put it out. He said YouTube, and they don't collect revenue for any of the views.
Doing the vlogs, which is about, we're now up to our 210th, something like that. So up to now, we don't boost, we don't do ads. You saw the Facebook, zero. Ako.
Yung ads, yung
I have
amount
not-
spent,
I
no?
don't,
Yeah.
because we got used to working that way.
But they just simply want to reach out to the youth and tell them what's their plan. So incidentally, that's the same thing that Reagan did before he became president, because he just came out on radio every evening and he was sharing his thoughts, and people got to know Reagan and they liked him and they voted him in. In the same for Barack Obama, he wrote the book The Audacity to Win, and among other things to share his wisdom and his thoughts. Yeah, it didn't work for Yang Power. I think it worked for Bongbong Marcos. So for the people of Philippines, if you're willing to give the Marcos another try, then I guess the world should back you up, and I wish you the best, and may God bless this leader and transform the region into a peaceful place, a prosperous country. And with your brothers here in ASEAN, let's grow together. Thank you.